Slowly, her gaze lifted. When their eyes met, she gasped. There was a fire raging there. Tension still branched his mouth, and sweat still trickled down his temples. He looked on edge, aroused to the point of pain. I think you're the most beautiful creature I've ever beheld, and like I said, I want your nipple in my mouth, and I think you want it there too. She gulped, unable to speak past the sudden lump in her throat. I'm going to release your arms. You can push me away, or you can urge me closer. The choice is yours. And just like that, she was free. Her arms fell to her side. She gripped the three, and jagged beads of black cords past her skin. The sting did nothing to dampen her desire. He was so hard and hot against her, he was like a brand. The pulse in his neck galloped fiercely. His lips were red and glistening from the kiss. His chest had stopped moving. She realized he was holding his breath, waiting. The knowledge softened her. Was he afraid she'd leave him? With a shaky hand, she reached out her palm. She reached out and palmed his erection. He hissed in a breath. The tip of his penis had risen well above the waist of his jeans. Actually, the material was so strained, the button had snapped open on its own. Trying to torture me, he croaked, "'Cause it's working." Was it? She moistened her lips and released him. Was bereft without him in her hand. Now he moaned. Despite the warning trying to slither into her mind, she cupped her breasts and lifted them. "Touch me." His eyes widened in surprised delight. A moment later, he dipped down and flickered his tongue against one pearl nipple, then the other. She'd experienced pleasure before, but that had been nothing compared to this. There was an invisible cord from each of her nipples that led straight to her core. And if he were actually dreaming her clitoris while he licked her, this was Fallon, the man she'd fantasized about for years, the man whose strength and heat and raw intensity destroyed her defenses and made her crave. Soon, she was writhing, couldn't have remained still if the plan had been to pretend she felt nothing for him, to undermine his confidence and try to convince him he was lacking. He was not lacking. She scraped her, he scraped her with his teeth, and she groaned. His fingers caressed the part down her stomach. Her muscles quivered when he paused. Glory felt as though she stood on a precipice, waiting to be pushed over. Would he delve lower like before? Only deeper. "How did I ever find the strength to send you away?" he asked hoarsely. Some of the flames inside her dwindled to a crack, and she almost screamed in frustration. If he kept talking, kept reminding her of their painful history, she might lose her bliss, her pleasure buzz. No more talking. He would ruin it. A soft chuckle rumbled from him. The tip of one finger traced a circle around her navel, then dipped again, lower this time, dabbling at the small triangle of hair, trickling. Nothing could ruin this. You are perfection. Her perfection. Interest, she patted her legs, giving him all the access he could possibly need. Through the material from the nightgown, he circled her clitoris next. Again, finally, he pressed. Oh, bright lightning, she gasped. Like that? Yes, more. He didn't give it to her but continued to play with her, thriving her to that sense of uncontrollable desire again. You are so wet, he praised, for me. Yes, you. She tried to ache into his tongue, tried to force his fingers to press harder. Fallon. Oh, but I like the sound of my name on your lips. His tongue gliding up to her collarbone, his teeth nipping along the way. She turned her head aside and he sucked on her pulse. I want to get on my knees. I want to taste between your legs. Say yes. He gripped the hem of her nightgown, slowly lifting. Yeah, red alert blurred inside her mind, shoving past her need to scream yes. If he touched the knot of her gown, he would discover the pen. He would realize he'd taken a stick from her instead. His knuckles brushed her thigh, and her knee almost buckled. All you have to do is say yes, and my tongue will be inside you. His dark head buried between her legs, one of her knees draped over his shoulder, his tongue stroking her to orgasm. She yearned for it so badly, she had tears in her eyes, but she forced herself to say no, and at last to shove him away. The action was puny, really, but he released her. He was panting, eyes narrowed. She was panting, eyes still burning. Things have already gone too far. She managed to get out. Do I sound as breathless to him as I do to myself? This ends now. He scrabbled his hands over his mouth, his gaze never leaving her face. Oh, I get it. Punishment received. He turned and stalked from her, and she wanted to shout that this hadn't been a punishment, not for him, but the words congealed in her throat, and then it was too late anyway, because he disappeared from view. Fallon fumed for the next 3 days, for 3 reasons. 3 must be his new lucky number. 1. Glory had outsmarted him, leaving him with a magicless stick rather than the revenge pen. 2. He hadn't gotten nearly enough of her and had thought about her constantly. And 3. She was now ignoring him as if he didn't fucking matter to her. He should be happy about that last one. He wasn't. Damn it, he wasn't. Motions clipped. He paced through his living room, trying to decide what to do, like his lack of happiness. This should have been a no-brainer. Stay out of her life. Never antagonize her again. She had her revenge. She'd made him born, desperate for her, and then had rejected him. They were even. There was no reason they had to deal with each other again. Most likely, bad, magical things would happen if they did. As well as hot and sweaty, he muttered. Her passion had been a thing of beauty. She rated against him, her lush body flushed, her hazel eyes blazing. Her breast had overflowed in his arms. Her skin had been the softest he'd ever caressed. Her long red hair had tumbled down her shoulders and arms, the perfect frame for her exquisite loveliness. What would have happened if she'd let him strip her? What would have happened if he'd spread her legs and pounded inside her? Heaven, that's what. But what about afterwards? Would she have wanted more from him or been done with him? Would she have used her naughty magic against him again? Fallon scrubbed a hand over his scalp, nails raking. He was, or rather, had been, crown prince of the Fae. Women had thrown themselves around him, hoping to be queen. None had captured his interest. Then he'd met Frederica, the witch, and had been entranced. Now he thought, perhaps she used love spell on him, and there at the end it had won out. But even still, he hadn't hungered for her the way he hungered for glory. Glory challenged him in every way imaginable. Not hard nowadays, immortal. To serve Penelope for the required years in order to gain his freedom from Frederica's impotence cause, he had to relinquish his crown. His brother Falk had then taken over. Falk was a good king, respected, admired and loved. Fallon didn't have the heart to take it from him when the year ended. What kind of king would I make anyway? Not a good one, that was for sure. He'd always been too wild. Besides, over the years, he'd managed to carve out a decent life for himself. He didn't need money, but he worked with Hunter at the bar. Amusements abounded, and there was never a dull moment. Brawls, seductions, plus it was a hub of information. When people were drinking, they tend to spill their deepest secrets. A few months ago, Fallon had overheard 3 female fairies planning to poison Falk. He'd passed the information on, and the women had been captured in the act. Falk saved.